Like, why would you restart this level? Well, sorry, we got a little crispy audio here. If you'll excuse me, loading up game capture again. We might as well start from the beginning of the level, you know, so we can refresh our mechanics a little bit and maybe get like maybe just get a coherent through line where we're not starting at the middle of the level, you know? Man's been in a mood all week. I've been in a pretty good mood, honestly. I would be inclined to think that you might also... Oh, I don't know who you are, so I might be wrong. But if you had thousands of people asking you questions daily with incorrect premises, you may occasionally start, as the English say, taking the piss out of them. You may actually get genuinely annoyed from time to time. Like if your boss every day, and yeah, I'm flattering you maybe a little bit with the comparison, but if every day your boss came up to you and said, hey, I thought I told you to have that thing on my desk by 9, and I was like, oh yeah, I dropped it off at 10:35 p.m. last night, and then he said, why are you so defensive? I would be, you know, you would have to say, oh, sorry, sir, I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but because I'm the one with the microphone, I get to defend myself, you know, from a position of a little bit more honor and say something like, well, because you accuse me of something that I'm not guilty of. What if your boss walked up to you every 5 minutes and spun a fish? That'd be pretty cool. Whoops. We love you, we're just busting your balls. And I'm just busting your balls. Maybe it's because I had the testicular surgery as a teenager, so I got like a little scrotal callus going. I don't mind my balls being busted. That's why Malf's my favorite comedian. But then when you bust the balls back, people are like, whoa, 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 hey, don't be rude. If you got thin balls, then don't be ball busting. It's for thick ball Andes only, okay? Ooh, I remember. Oh, that's not right. What about single ball Steves? Nothing but respect. What do you think? Do you think if you had an orchidectomy, what's that? Oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm on Twitch. It's when you have a testicle removed surgically, or I guess recreationally. But if you had an orchidectomy, would you get a prosthetic? I don't think I would get one for aesthetic reasons, but I am wondering if maybe like, because I've only ever had 2, maybe with one, it would be like rattling around a little bit, like maybe it needs like the buffer. I don't know. Maybe it would be like bouncing off the side of your leg or something like that. Messes with your aerodynamics. Doesn't mess with my aerodynamics too much because I wear pants, but you know, you do you. It is annoying sometimes, not gonna lie. Maybe I'd get a prosthetic then, I don't know. Whoops. But I would want the doctor to know when I got the prosthetic, he would be like, what ball do you want? And I would be like, sir, I don't have a shred of vanity in my body. I'm not doing this for aesthetic reasons. I'm not doing this so that you know, my balls look symmetrical. I'm only doing this because I don't want to put undue tension on my left testicle or my right testicle on the Peloton and then have it explode like a Concord grape 20 minutes into my Emma Lovewell 90s rock ride, okay? Kid in my dorm had 3 balls. That's crazy. You don't hear about that too much. You hear about 2 balls the most, I would say. 1 ball, not uncommon. 3 balls, though. Would you get an extra removed? Well, I think it depends. Was the third one, like, did it still have bilateral symmetry? Like, was it exactly in the center of the other 2? Because if so, that's probably okay. But if it was like I had the 2 that I normally have and then one was just like jutting out to the side, I would probably be like, I mean, like, as long as it's not doing anything, I would probably take it out. If only so I could, have more options when I buy underwear. Whoops. He shaved? I did! It feels so good. Can I say something that's not going to be a popular opinion? I wasn't asking you. Hold on, Tomo. You want to get out here? There you go. Can I say something that might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion? When you're a little bit chubby, growing a beard cuts 10 to 20 pounds off of the appearance of your face. When you have more of a jawline, growing a beard adds 10 to 20 pounds to the appearance of your face. I find every week I go through this cycle where I shave and I'm like, damn, I'm getting like a little skinny. And then like a week later, the scruff comes in and I'm like, I gotta cut out all carbohydrates entirely. And then I shave and I'm like, oh shit, must have been like a great ride this morning. I must have been like incredibly disciplined with my eating this week. But really nothing has changed except like, my face appears to be like 2 millimeters larger because of the appearance of the hair. Oh! It's like Schrodinger's beard, I have the exact same experience. It might, listen, it's not universal maybe. It might depend on the shape of your face. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm just one man. I can only tell you my experience. Like, I catch some flack because I'm anti-beard. But I'm not anti-beard in other people. Like, I see... Oh! I just jumped one more time at the bottom. I'm anti-beard in myself. But if I've seen people who look great with beards, maybe better with beards than clean shaven. What a level, man. Me when I'm in a Mario Maker level building competition and my opponent is Apollo, Monka S. Ooh. What do you mean I'm one of those people? I can grow a beard. I choose to shave it because I prefer, not just how it looks, because whatever. I prefer how it feels, honestly. Like the ideal, this is not my ideal feeling or appearance for my face, but I get there in like 3 days. He's insane. He's cracked. What does Kate think? Does not like the beard, for sure. But also, like, nobody notices the beard as much as the bearded. Like, there's, when we were on that Disney cruise in the fall, I didn't shave for like 11 days, and I was like, man, I'm looking like Trevor from Grand Theft Auto 5 right now. And then I just kept being like, oh man, I feel like so disheveled. Like, I almost feel like I could style the hair on the sides and the back of my head. And she was like, you just look the same. But I knew. Help! You should get a neck tattoo. Nah, I don't think I'm a tattoo guy. I'll be honest, I kind of wish I was like a beard and a tattoo guy. It's a really easy way to get a certain style as a bald man. But it's just not my it's just not me. It's just not genuine. I would be putting on airs to do it. I'm just waiting to be like, you know, let's say I'm like 48 years old. I'm going to Google what glasses did Stanley Tucci wear in 2017. And then I'm going to put on those glasses. And then I'm going to look exactly like Stanley Tucci. And then, like, that'll be a good era for me. Ooh. Okay, yeah, you need a little bit more momentum coming over, but that was pretty good. Have you watched Poker Face? The music video from Lady Gaga or the show starring Natasha Lyonne? Lyonne? Can I tell you something? I've been making a lot of enemies this week. I said I don't think Adam Savage and I would be friends, which I think is true, and is not even a knock on Adam Savage. It's just like I don't think our personalities would match well in social situations. People minus two'd me for that. He probably wouldn't get along with your ass either, honestly, because you would be asking him questions about Mythbusters nonstop. That's not the reason that I would not get along with him. I would be like, please stop making puns, probably. But anyway, regardless, I can't think of a time. This is way ruder. Let me put it this way. Natasha Lyonne has been in some good projects, but she's not my favorite actress. I know she's in American Pie. She's in Orange is the New Black. I watched a couple episodes of Russian Doll. It's just, it's not my tempo. It's not a knock. It's just, it's not my tempo. You know, there was a post on my subreddit today that was like, why do game developers love NL? Apparently, like their post was like, I work in the industry, and he's one of the influencers like most commonly mentioned as being watched by game developers. And then like one of the top posts was like, oh, it's because he's like a nice guy and he gives games a fair shake and doesn't just resort to being abrasive, and he does a good job of trying to interface with game mechanics and like explaining them well, even if he doesn't always, you know, love what we made. And I'm like, holy shit, I forgot. I'm nice. Chad gaslit me into thinking like I'm insanely rude. Like every day I finish a stream, I'm like, I shouldn't have been so mean on the stream today. I'm so rude. Then like, you know, normal people and also game developers are like, it's because of his polite demeanor. I guess I'm rude to chatters sometimes. I don't know if we're going... Oh, because you just land on the thing. You don't even have to fall down the right side. What am I thinking? But like then and again, this is rude to other streamers that I'm essentially making up in my head. But like sometimes I do watch a streamer and they play a game for like 5 seconds. And then like the first time they encounter something they don't like, they're like, why didn't the devs do it this way? Wow, that's fucking stupid. And I'm like, you gotta... Anyway, you know, we don't have to get super into it, but no, that's not the momentum we need. Give names? It's like everybody else. Help me. Not everybody else. That's you when there's a story. Yeah, but I'm like more polite about it. And I honestly think like, I think this is feedback that like I wish more developers, and I'm just one guy. Like I'm not like the champion of the gamers. I'm just saying for me, I wish that more playtesters played indie dev games and said like your opening spiel about the story should be 80% shorter. Like people, unless it's like a visual novel is an exception, or unless you're of the opinion that you, and I can't dissuade you from this, that you've written like the next great American novel in digital form, then you need to at least get to the gameplay, which is the reason they probably bought the game, a little bit faster. You never lose by like just dropping someone into the game and then giving them the story later, you know? It's not like a movie necessarily where like somebody's gonna drop into like a field with a sword and a shield and they're, oh, so I'm just killing slimes? Why am I just killing slimes? There's ludonarrative dissonance here. This doesn't make the slimes invade my kingdom. Did the slimes are the slimes growing from underground? Were they here? But like, please, give me a 7-minute cutscene, but that's not really a cutscene. It's just pressing A to get like static images with text on them to pass through. And the King Deodric of the 17th realm hated the slimes, so he banished the slimes from the kingdom. Like, there's exceptions. Like, there's some games where I'm like, I don't interface with the story that much, but everybody loves the lore. One of them is Hades, for sure. That being said, no disrespect, but most of you don't play as many games as I do. So, like, when you get mad that I skip lore in Hades, I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see why you get mad. But when you get mad when I skip the lore in, like, Bill's RPG 2 Roll Dice Edition, I'm like, why do you care? You're never going to see this shit. You're never buying this? Come on. But I don't know, the rat with the sword, what's his motivation? Ooh. I can't believe I hit the shell there. What's your favorite story in video games? I don't know, like, I don't want to tell you because I'm a product of my time, you know? I was, in my formative years, the most popular genre on the planet was RPGs. Biggest RPG of all time, up to that point, Final Fantasy VII. You play Final Fantasy VII as a 13-year-old, it blows your mind. It makes, like, it gets its tendrils into your brain. Oh! I've said it before, but I got really lucky with Final Fantasy VII because I played it when it was at peak popularity. It was like probably, if you asked 25% of the if you asked the whole population what's your favorite video game, you would have gotten like 50% Ocarina of Time, 25% Final Fantasy VII, and then like 25% Pong or something like that. But then there was a huge, like, decade-long backlash to Final Fantasy VII. Just because everything that gets popular also then has, like, an echo of becoming hated. But the themes from Final Fantasy VII have actually, either by prescience or pure luck, I chose to do nothing here, have actually, like, aged well. Cloud Strife being like an environmental terrorist, taking down like a hyper-capitalist polluting regime in the first disc, like those are themes that still, if anything, they probably resonate more now than they did in, like, 2005 when the game was like almost 10 years old. So it's just due to the turning of the world, the game actually has a better legacy than a lot of games from that era, for sure. We always call out things that age badly, but that actually, like, Final Fantasy VII aged pretty well. At least from a narrative context. Now, there is still a man with a machine gun for a hand, but I guess, honestly, I support that because it's cool. I mean, there's some stuff that didn't age well in it. What's the guy's name? Don Julio? I can't remember. Ooh. Don Corneo, that's it. This man are sick, etc., etc. But yeah, I mean, this is a long and It's a long and short way of saying that. I don't know, maybe like Final Fantasy VII. But I would have to think about it. Woohoo! You can give a bomb to the grabber, but it's... I mean, it's just rude. Little jumps. Little kicks like Elaine. I was not the kid who got way too into Sephiroth. I had cross-aisle appeal. I could appeal to the normies by talking about hockey, and I could appeal to the kid who pretended to be a ninja in class every day by talking about Final Fantasy VII. I could straddle the line with discord and rhyme. I'm on the hunt, I'm after you. Mouth is alive with juices like wine. And I'm hungry like the wolf. Ooh. I just feel like, for me, stories in games is like, they have to justify their existence. They don't get to just, like, they don't get, for me, I was going to say they don't get, but what I should say is I don't like when I buy a game because the screenshot of the gameplay looks cool, and then the first 10 minutes of the game are, you know, basically like lore dumping me for stuff I don't care about, or at least have not been compelled to care about yet. Like, maybe hook me with a little bit of gameplay first, and then pace it out and give me a little introduction to the lore. But there's exceptions. Like, I would much rather, even though I didn't play too much Death Stranding, if I'm playing a Kojima game, please start with a 90-minute cutscene. Because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to see what's, you know, let's crack open the walnut that is the man's mind and see what spills out. But if I'm like, oh, whoa, what a cool deck builder. The kingdom of Mousia has been invaded by evil goo. Oh, really? Okay, what does that matter? Well, not too much. Strike does 7 damage. You can also use Defend. That will block the next incoming attack that happens to... You get the idea. He's up and over. I think we're too fast. No, I'm on perfect pace. No, I'm too fast. I was too fast. Yeah, Slay the Spire is like Lion, Soy, right? Go climb that tower. I could not tell you any... I can barely tell you the names of the bosses in Slay the Spire. You got Donut and Non-Donut. Didn't quite have enough there. Hexaghost, that's true. Large Slime. The Time Lord, that's okay, that's right, I remember the Time Lord. Against my will. Big Crow, is he called the Fallen or something? Large Knight with a Sword. The Champion, right? Yeah, okay. Slay the Spire did story right, for sure, by not having any of it at all. -2, -2. But why are we fighting Dono and Deka? Were they created in a laboratory with nefarious Mako experiments by Dr. Hojo, who was working for the Shinra Corporation but was not really given much oversight? They just said, here's some materia, go nuts. And what about Lucretia? Where does Lucretia factor into all of this? You got to take Sid's airship around to the Crystal Archipelago where you get Knights of the Round Table. Sorry, Knights of the Round. Knights of the Round Table is copywritten by Merlin. Wahoo! Oh, wahoo! By the way, there will be no Curtis Blow raps today. The only Curtis Blow rap is in the title. Ooh! Mario is my favorite game. When he says wahoo, I say the same. Well, let's see what's going on here. There's something here. I think it's something like... I think it's like this. Oh, it is! Okay. I knew it. Just trust the process. Every piece is there for a reason. That's cool. Oh, oh. Okay, okay. Oh, there's a little platform there. It looks so hidden to me. That fucking sucks. What were the devs thinking? They couldn't have made it like a little... You get the idea. Kids these days. Kids these days would rather fucking... They're rather fucking... I don't know. Something, something. Everybody talks about AVN. Nobody talks about AVGN. I don't know. You got to do a double jump here. Then here, you drop the shell down. And then, no. Something like that. Oh, I'll see you later. You mad genius. He's gonna take you back to the past to play the shitty games that suck ass. See, it's so easy. I stole that one from chat, but I'm saying it's easy to type. A Curtis Blow AVGN theme would go pretty hard. He's got Mario, Sonic, Castlevania 2. Plumbers don't wear ties, and you know he ain't through. You go, bounce me? Bounce me? What the fuck? Okay, I get it now. We gotta bounce on the left to send his body into the hook so we can bounce off of it. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, what is happening? It's crazy. He's insane. The man has lost his mind. Find his dev door. Apollo wouldn't besmirch the honor of Mario Maker like that. There's just something about like an Apollo level. Like when you play other Mario Maker levels, sometimes you gotta be like, oh, I see what they were going for here, but it doesn't really work. With Apollo's levels, is actually like every piece is there for a reason. Just trust that because he doesn't make it like you have to overthink something. Like if you really broke it down to its base principles, you're like everything is there. All you have to do is interact with it the way you would expect to interact with it. It's just not easy. But you find yourself like when you look at it, you're like, oh, can I like do something cheesy here to get by it? You don't need to do something cheesy. You just need to do it. It's like building a piece of IKEA furniture. Don't worry about making your own steps. They already made the steps for you. Just follow the steps. Take your time. Reduce your cognitive load. Like my favorite Radiohead song? Oh, Everything in Its Right Place. A Vanilla Sky fan has been spotted. Can you believe that, like, oh, listen, I got a bone to pick with a couple of things. This just reminded me, though. Can you believe that they shut down Times Square to film the opening of Vanilla Sky? Whoops, I didn't bring my shell. You reminded me of that because they play Everything in Its Right Place during that intro. But, like, what about the people who have to go through, like, Times Square to get to work? I guess they're just fucked so that Cameron Crowe can make, like, a 5 out of 10 movie? Why was I thinking about it yesterday? Well, it's just there's resonance because I was driving to pick my daughter up from daycare, and then the roads are pretty narrow in parts of Vancouver. So there's cars parked on both sides. One of the cars had parked illegally, so a tow truck was towing the car away. But the tow truck itself, you know, it takes like 5 minutes to get the thing on the damn hook. So they were blocking the entire avenue for 5 minutes because a car was parked illegally. That meant that like one street parking spot was not open up so that somebody could park in it and pay like 25 cents an hour to park there. And I was sitting there like smashing my steering wheel, like make it make sense. Can't you just like can you just let them be illegally parked to like I get that the illegal parking is like an inconvenience, but at the same time is like you blocking the road. I've got like 30 cars behind me. 30 cars times 5 to 10 minutes per car is like you just messed up the whole city's day. Like people are going to be late picking up their kids. They're going to be late for doctor's appointments. They're going to get home late. Dinner's going to be cold. All because like one Evo parked slightly incorrectly. Just like it doesn't seem to be serving a public good. I missed the last shell. Are you saying he shouldn't have towed it? Yeah. It's like, but towing it was worse for the city than just letting the car sit there. And by the city, I mean me specifically, but I don't think it was better for anybody, except like the one person who was like, oh, a hit parking spot. He inconvenienced like 40 people so that someone else didn't have to walk 10 extra steps from their car. Like it's nuts. I didn't bring my shell. Listen, I got no love for the Evo. I'm just saying. What if that person was me? Well, I would never know. But like, I support a utilitarian civic design. I think things should work as well for everybody as possible. Like we illegally parked once without knowing it. We parked in an area where like it was okay to park, but then after 2 p.m., it's illegal to park there because there's more traffic, so they need the extra lane for, you know, flow or whatever. Listen, I'm not a city planner. So they towed our car, and I wasn't like, oh, why did they tow our car? I was like, yeah, I get it. We made a mistake, and we accidentally, like, if our car was there, people would expect that lane to be open. They would get like all the way behind our car, and then they'd have to merge into bumper to bumper traffic. Like it would really slow things down. I understood when we got towed there. Now I was a little annoyed that like they couldn't just maybe knock on the door and be like, hey, could you move your car before I tow it? But I understand that like they're basically an extension of the mob and they have to earn money somehow. By the way, you've stun locked me. This shit drives me crazy. I'm a city planner, and this kind of discourse is the worst part of my job. Well, then you explain it better. Are you going to bat for the tow truck that blocked 30 people from getting where they needed to go, so that one person would pay $200 to the towing company? Oh, it's bait. It's bait from Knight's Try. Oh, now I'm mad for a different reason. because it also ties back to when I mentioned people will literally watch the stream and then make like a thinly veiled reference to something that happened 2 years ago, and then when you don't get it immediately, they'll be like, what's wrong with you? Brother, what's wrong with you? Ooh, there's a Koopa skip. If they don't tow it, there will be no fear to parking illegally? Okay, like what? Who cares? Can't you just fine them? Can't you just write down their license plate and give them a ticket or something like that? Oops, hang on. Show me! Oh. Living in Portland, they basically don't enforce any parking stuff. I learned that from the rehearsal. Because that one guy didn't even have a license plate on his car. And Nathan Fielder was like, are you really driving without a license plate? And he's like, yeah, the cops don't care. And everyone watching was like, that doesn't sound right. And there was a person on the subreddit that was like, I live in Portland, and actually he's pretty much correct on that. Ooh. My city doesn't enforce any parking laws. It's going to hell as a result. What do you mean it's going to hell? Oh, I thought I was smarter than I am. I live in a city that's beautiful, and occasionally you see some nightmarish stuff. I'm telling you, parking enforcement's like the least of our worries. Apparently, they're doing a lot of parking enforcement, and it's still hard to find a place to park. So, like, you know, it's just the consequence of having a lot of people. Oh, what am I doing here? I think you'd miss it if it was gone. I don't think so. Based on me being me and knowing myself and knowing my city, and you just guessing based on your own preconceived biases, I'm not saying I'm right, I'm saying I'm going to continue to hold my opinion for now until I see a compelling reason to switch to yours. It is nice, though. We're entering the season where... What am I doing? We're entering the season where the weather gets nicer. More people bike, which is great. A little annoying sometimes. Not because they're biking, but because I try not to hit people with my car. I'm a little bit of an unusual Vancouverite like that. And it does add a layer of complexity. But what it also does is make so many more parking spots available. Sometimes I used to get a little annoyed by cyclists. I was like, oh, there's so many cyclists today. Then one day, a light bulb went off in my head where it was raining, and I was like, oh my God, there's so many parking spots. There's no parking spots. That's because nobody's biking today. Everybody drove their car to work because their car is basically an umbrella. Now, anytime the weather's nice and I see a lot of cyclists and then there's ample parking wherever I need to go, I say, thank you, cyclists. Thank you so much for making it easier for me to drive my car. You got to double bounce that. Well, maybe you don't. Oh, you got to hold your shell. So you go, woohoo, and then you seashell jump on it. Are you crazy? All right. Oh, okay. Again? Nope. Does Vancouver have good public transit? Certainly, like, amongst the best in Canada. Yeah? I mean, the trains are good. There's just not quite like there's not enough routes, but they're slowly chunking them out now and then when they get the political capital to push it. And the busing system is really good, but the problem with buses is that they go on the same roads as the cars. So like, you know, if there's a lot of traffic and your destination is not on a train route, then you're still in traffic. But at least you can look on your phone while you're stuck in traffic instead of like, you know, slowly pushing your foot down on the gas and then immediately pivoting it to the brakes and then, you know, just developing like plantar fasciitis because your city is a lot of traffic. I don't know if that's what plantar fasciitis is. I don't have a degree in podiatry. Doesn't mean I don't like to be stepped on, though. You learn a little bit on the job. Help me. I was glancing. I thought that jump was automatic. Got any advice for landing a job? Nope. Not at all. I'm just not your guy. I'm not your source for that one. You got to find a more authoritative source. I don't think you could handle LA traffic. Oh, don't worry. My ass would not be caught dead like being in LA for recreation. I know I take shots at like Boston from time to time because people who live there are like really rude. And then other people are like, no, I'm from Boston. They're actually the nicest people in the world. They're just rude to your face. But anybody would help you clear ice off your car windshield in a storm. They just would like call you a greasy pig fucker while you did it. But LA, like, there's just some things about this city that kind of baffle my mind. How could a city be that big and have no public transit? I understand that there's like a General Motors, lobbying thing. But like, they've had like 100 years past that to like fix it. The fact that LA is just pure sprawl, and whenever you go, like you could, any other city, the restaurants that you would want to go to as a tourist are centered largely around downtown and the surrounding neighborhoods. Even if you go to Boston, if you go to like your hotel concierge and go, where should I go to eat? They're like, here's 1,000 restaurants within a mile walk from you. In LA, if you're like, where should I eat? People are like, oh, where are you staying? And then you're like, oh, downtown LA, you know, the place that normally you would consider the center of, you know, the entertainment district. They're like, ooh, tough choice. What you're going to want to do is go to the airport, rent a car from the Avis rent-a-car terminal. And then, like, here's one place that's a 40-minute drive to the east. Here's one place that's a 40-minute drive to the north. If you wanted to, you could just quickly hop down to, like, San Diego. There's a great place that's down there. Also, never, ever drive between the hours of noon and 9 p.m. because that's rush hours. Hang on, I needed the shell, buddy. Like, it's just like a car designed the LA. Like, it's designed, like, I feel like in LA, you almost have the same lifestyle that someone has in, like, the suburban Midwest, but with the cost of living of being on like a coastal city. It doesn't make sense to me. Now, I have had some fun in LA. I've eaten some good food. But there were also, when I was in, I think I've been, well, I was in Orange County like 2 weeks ago, but we just stayed at Disneyland essentially. But I went to LA for E3 once. We stayed for like 5 days, and I was just, it would blow your mind. We're staying like in the center of downtown, and people are like, ooh, rough choice. You really should have stayed at, you know, in Ventura. And I'm like, fucking, then maybe it shouldn't be called LA. Maybe it should be called Ventura. LA could be the suburb. But that was when we were in the Magic. We are like, hey, is there any place in the city to buy Magic cards? People are like, oh yeah, from downtown, just take like a $27 Uber to the closest card shop. You're like, really? There's no place in downtown LA that is like a hobby shop at all? It's like 17 million people live here or something like that. It's mind-blowing. They are anti-nerd, I guess. Now do New York? Well, like, my problem with New York is just that, like, New York didn't invent weather. It's just cold in the wintertime. When I was in New York for Champions of Fire, it was like the middle of December, and I grew up, you know, just a little north of New York, I guess. So that weather is not super foreign to me. But that was the only negative part of being in New York. You could easily get around places. They have a subway that was built in like 1861. Like oh, you can't do that. LA could never. Only number one thing, not a joke, that annoyed me about New York was just New Yorkers refusing to use Google Maps. And then saying, we don't need Google Maps. The streets are lined up so, like, efficiently that you just know where you need to go without it. And then, you know, POV, our ass getting lost because, like, two New Yorkers have a disagreement about the best way to get to a place. No, dude, you would never take 75th Avenue to get there. You're going to cut through Alphabet City because the blocks are wider, and then... Hang on. Does anybody have Google Maps on their phone? Hang on. We're getting there. He's almost done it. Anyway, like, at the end of the day, I'm not anti, like, any city, really. Like, obviously, there's things to like and hate in every city, but I don't think LA is for me. I just felt it. I just felt it. Thank you for the gifted subscriptions, noob. Thank you. That felt pretty good. Apollo, by the way, this is a great level. In the Checkpoint League levels that I have played, this one has got to be... It's got to be close to the top. I don't know why I'm playing it through again. I guess it's because I don't want to have to play 2 hours of Blood Bowl 3 before Jackbox. Well, I think, like, the thing... I can't rank cities to live in because I've only lived in, you know, Vancouver and Daegu, South Korea, basically. But, like, for cities to visit, LA's at the bottom. Just because, like, it doesn't seem like a great city to be a tourist in unless you rent a car. If you rent a car, then maybe it's a different story. But as someone who, like, you know, I traveled for 10 years and never really thought that renting a car was necessary until we had a child who requires a car seat, I was like... Really? I have to get on an airplane to fly someplace, and then when I land there, I have to rent a car? It just seems like a backwards concept to me. Like, if I was going to Minneapolis, I would be like, oh yeah, I need to rent a car. But LA? And San Diego, for that matter. Don't even get me started. I don't want to... listen, I got to be careful with San Diego, because I think that's where the librarian lives. I don't want to... r/Bellingham, I can take him. r/... Los Angeles? Well, I don't know, because I feel like the bigger a city is, the more people are like on their subreddit. They're like, no, he's right. Things about this place kind of suck sometimes. Fair enough. Like if I ranted about Vancouver and somebody posted the rant on our Vancouver, people would probably say like he didn't go in hard enough. The mountains actually aren't even as beautiful as he said they are. Source, I live in Surrey. I can't believe this. I think we're going to play like 2 hours of Blood Bowl 2. Blood Bowl 3, I mean. And then we'll do Jackbox.